day 5 or 6, don't really know exactly. But what you see behind me is Pamplona. And what you will see later during the day is the Peak of Forgiveness, or the Alto del Perdón. And it's one of the most important and famous points on the Camino, and also the last climb in a while, luckily. But why it's called like that? That's interesting, because this peak was part of the Camino for a very long time, for many centuries. Still, already in the Middle Age, we could consider this was part of the Camino. And the reason why it's so famous is that those who would die while climbing that mountain, that peak, could claim forgiveness and indulgency, same as they would have arrived in Santiago, so they could benefit from this in the other world. Now, of course, when one talks about dying on the Camino, it's something that would apply in the Middle Age, right? Because, people had no access to hospitals or any kind of healthcare, or there were thieves and robbers. You could be even, murdered on the Camino. You had to withstand all sort of weather conditions, so it was nothing comparable to what we have today. So the Alto del Perdón is still part of the Camino, and maybe what's interesting about it is also that there is a very famous sculpture on top, which is made of iron, and it says, I think, where the path of man is crossed with the path of the stars, right? And this sculpture symbolizes the union between the sky and the mountain, but it's something that was added actually just recently. It's a sculpture that you will see features pilgrims from very different ages, from the pilgrim in the Middle Age walking with a donkey to the modern pilgrims with their backpacks. And it has been installed by the local electricity company when they actually had to, they decided, to install like all these a windmill farm on top of the mountain. And in order to excuse themselves from installing this, they decided to install, let's say, a monument that today is part of the Camino, and you will literally see in every Camino forum, in every Camino picture, in every Camino movie, you will always see this monument. But yeah, it's a product of capitalism. Let's just remember that. All right, so we'll head for the walk. It's a beautiful day. It's finally some sun. I'm so excited, surrounded by these happy birds. A beautiful day on Camino with a destination of Puente la Reina. And here we are, the Alto del Perdón. So after a long climb, steady climb, I'm finally here at the Alto del Perdón, and I'm done with climbs for a long time, really, until the entrance to Galicia. I'm really done with it. What you see behind me, before you actually look at the landscape, it's the only remainder of what used to be a shelter or hospital for pilgrims that was destroyed by Napoleon's soldier in the 19th century. So at the top of the mountain, the pilgrims could actually have a place to sleep, a place to get some food, and to recover from the difficult day. But yeah, here we are. I'm feeling good, because yesterday I actually decided to rest a little bit and walk less, because I wasn't feeling that good, and it was a rainy day also, and I was debating within myself whether I should really rest or whether I should just continue walking. I just took this break, and I was blessed, because yesterday all of this was covered by the snow, by the fog, and by the clouds. And now instead we can see all the landscape. We can see Pamplona, we can see the Pyrenees, we can see all the over 100 kilometers already that we've been walking on the Camino, and that feels so good. So from now on it's all downhill until Puente la Reina, and I've done the Camino in different seasons. This is the third time that I do the Camino Frances, and I've done over 8 Caminos, and every time you do it in a different season you see something different, because when I did it in the summer this was all yellow. When I did it in spring, this was green, but dotted with the red color of the flowers. And now it's just green, but it's such a majestic green, because you can see that here it rains a lot, so the landscape is amazing. We have to go down this way. It's going to be quite a long descent, but definitely I think it will feel rewarding, and I really look forward to that. finally in Puente la Reina, city with a lot of history related to the Camino, right? But what's beautiful about this town, as well as other towns, but this one is that you can really see how it has been shaped by the fact that it's on the Camino. Like literally, the town is one big road that goes on the Camino, and all the businesses in the Middle Age, and yeah, many of them still today, they are here. So well, in the Middle Age, maybe you can find the blacksmith, or you could find the tailor. Nowadays, you find the dentist and the supermarket. And of course, the albergues. So what we just saw before was the albergue of the Padre Reparadores. Very typical albergue from the Camino. It's been working since the 15th century. And when I say very typical, it's because it's a structure of like a church with an arch, and the arch goes over the Camino. And it's something that you also see in other places. For instance, you see it in Castrohelitz. So yeah, the architecture of the Camino, once you get to know things, once you see things, you will find many similarities, and you will see how it repeats itself. You know, it was convenient in this case to have a church on the Camino as a shelter place, and to have an arch, you know, like that would protect from the rain pilgrims that might not really have a place to sleep inside the church, but they would probably sleep outside. And here this architecture gets even more evident as we are in the Santiago street of Puente la Reina, because it's literally one street with those that were businesses, those that were like ancient buildings, like palazzos, you know, belonging to the rich families. Soon we will see a church, and at the end of this walk, the iconic bridge of Puente la Reina. What's up? Good evening. 6 p.m., end of a very long day on the Camino of Santiago, and ending in a very historical place. My favorite bridge on the Camino, one of my favorite towns in the Camino, Puente la Reina, or in Basque, Gares, and its famous bridge, right? Puente la Reina, what does it mean even? What's the bridge story? Well, I don't know much about it, but what I can tell you is that there's a few legends about it. Like a queen who had to actually cross the Arga River, and it was without a bridge. Well, you can see it's quite a big river, right? So she was facing a lot of issues. She was having a lot of troubles, and then after some prayer, the bridge magically appeared and helped her cross the river. I don't really know if that's really true, but another thing I was asking myself is, why do we have these little openings in the bridge, in the pillars? Because if you look at it, it doesn't really seem like it has a purpose, but it does. First of all, it reduces the number of bricks that they were using for the bridge. And secondly, it makes the whole structure of the bridge lighter, and it results in less resistance with water should the river be really high, and like the river flow, the river bed raise considerably. And maybe also for aesthetic reasons, we don't know, right? But that's where I had a long day on my Camino hands on this beautiful town, Puente la Reina. It's a mandatory stop, and for me it has a lot of memories, because I remember exactly as it was yesterday, my very first Camino, 12 years ago, summer day, just sitting under this bridge, enjoying the sun at the end of a long day, sitting on this very same grass here, and just being happy, right? And I think that's the magical feeling in this city. There's some vibration, there's some energies, because you would feel it as well. You know that you've accomplished a lot. You know that when you're here, you're officially crossed the Pyrenees. You know that when you're in Puente la Reina, your fellow pilgrims from the Camino Aragonés will join you, and together you will walk towards Santiago.